Every single time you wake up in the morning and you decide to stay in bed, you've already lost. You've already told your body that comfort matters more than your goals. That right there is the root problem with most people. They rely on motivation. They wait to feel like doing it. Let me tell you something real. You will never feel like doing the hard things every single day. You will never be consistently motivated, because motivation is like a sugar rush, quick, sweet, and gone before you know it. It's temporary. What separates the winners from the average is not some magical burst of motivation. It's not inspiration from a video. It's not a pump from music. It's the choice to act even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is the foundation of every successful person's life. It's that voice in your head that says, I don't care how tired you are, get up. It's the steel mindset that says, I do what must be done, no excuses. That's where consistency is born. Not from emotion, but from discipline. You think the champion gets up and is always excited to train. You think the man who built an empire felt a rush of joy every time he faced setbacks, failures, late nights, and betrayal. No, he just did what needed to be done, again and again, because he was disciplined, because he had a standard and he refused to fall below it. Look at the average person. They're ruled by how they feel. I'm too tired. I had a rough day. I'll start tomorrow. That's why they stay average. That's why they make promises to themselves they never keep. That's why they get excited on Monday and give up by Wednesday. They never built the discipline. They never understood that feelings are irrelevant to action. The disciplined man acts regardless of his feelings. He doesn't negotiate with weakness. He doesn't sit around waiting for motivation to magically appear. He builds his life around routine, around structure, around commitment. That's what builds consistency. And consistency is where results come from. Not from doing it once, not from doing it when it's convenient, but doing it every single day. Discipline makes that possible. If you rely on motivation, you'll never be consistent. And if you're not consistent, you'll never succeed. It's that simple. The hard truth is, no one cares if you're tired. No one cares if you're stressed. The world doesn't reward you for almost. It rewards you for results. And results come when discipline fuels your actions. This is why the gym matters. Not because of how you look, but because of what it teaches you. It teaches you to show up. To push even when it burns. To repeat the reps. To face resistance and keep going. That's discipline. That's where consistency is forged. Not when it's easy. When it's hard. That's when it matters. Anyone can do it when they feel great. But who are you when it's dark? When it's cold, when your mind says stop, that's when the disciplined man shines. That's when he separates himself from the rest. People keep asking for secrets. There are no secrets. There is discipline. That's the answer no one wants to hear. Because it's hard. Because it takes time. Because it requires sacrifice. You want to build a strong body, be disciplined enough to eat right and train daily. You want to build wealth, be disciplined with your time, your habits, your focus. You want respect, be disciplined in how you speak, how you carry yourself, how you live. Every area of your life is a reflection of your discipline. If it's chaotic, if it's full of broken promises and wasted days, it means you lack discipline. And that's something you need to face, not deny. But here's the truth. Discipline is not born, it's built. One decision at a time. You build it by choosing action over comfort, by sticking to the plan, by saying no to distractions. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it, you build discipline. And when discipline becomes your default, consistency becomes automatic. That's how winners are made. That's how you become unstoppable. So if you're sitting there waiting to feel like it, you've already lost. You're already behind the man who got up and did it without feeling anything. That's the difference. Winners act, losers wait. You need to stop asking how to get motivated and start building the mental muscle of discipline. You don't rise by accident. You rise by effort, by repetition, by structure. You rise by taking control of your own actions and refusing to be ruled by emotion. You want a better life. You want strength, power, control. Then build discipline. Use it to fuel your consistency. Because when you're consistent, the world can't ignore you. Results become inevitable. Doors start opening. You stop hoping and start dominating. That's the real power. Not some hype speech, not some temporary boost, but the cold, quiet consistency that comes from unshakable discipline. Discipline is freedom. You think it's the opposite, but it's not. Discipline gives you control. It lets you choose your path. It makes you the master of your mind. When you have discipline, you stop being a slave to your impulses. You become the kind of man who does what he says, who follows through, who finishes what he starts. And that kind of man, he's rare, he's respected, he wins. Not sometimes, but always. So stop chasing motivation. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start building discipline. Start acting like your future depends on what you do today, because it does. That's the truth. That's the power. Discipline first, consistency next. Success follows, every time. Success isn't a lightning strike. It's not some big moment that changes everything overnight. It's not about some grand gesture or a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity falling into your lap. Success is built on small wins, tiny repetitive actions done over and over again, until they snowball into something massive. That's the truth. No one wants to hear, because it sounds boring. It's not glamorous, it's not cinematic, but it's real. That's what separates the elite from the average. While the average person waits for the big break, the successful man is stacking small victories daily, relentlessly, without fail. Every time you say no to that junk food, that's a win. Every time you drag yourself to the gym when you don't want to go, that's a win. Every time you put your phone down and focus on you, you're collecting another win. These moments may seem insignificant in isolation, but they compound. They build momentum. Each small win is a brick in the foundation of your empire. The man who understands this is dangerous, because he knows that he doesn't need to rely on bursts of motivation or major milestones. He knows that if he dominates today, and then tomorrow, and then the next day, without fail, he will eventually conquer anything he sets his mind to. But here's the problem. Most people are addicted to instant gratification. They want to see the results immediately. They want six-pack abs in a week. They want to be rich by the end of the month. And when that doesn't happen, they give up. They don't understand the compounding effect of effort. They think that because they didn't see results right away, it didn't matter. That's why they stay stuck. That's why they keep quitting and starting over again and again, never making real progress. You want real strength. You want real transformation. Then fall in love with the process of daily effort. Fall in love with the grind, the repetition, the discipline. It's in those moments, the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, that greatness is born. Not in front of the cameras, not on social media, but in silence, when no one is watching and no one is clapping. That's where your power is built. Think about the gym. You don't grow by lifting heavy once. You grow by showing up, rep after rep, set after set, day after day. One session doesn't change your body. 100 consistent ones do. And it's the same in every area of life. Business, you don't build an empire in a week. You build it through countless hours of planning, learning, executing, failing, and improving. Relationships, you don't gain trust and respect overnight. You earn it through consistent action, through reliability, through effort. Small wins are the silent killers of mediocrity. They chip away at weakness every single day. And most people overlook them because they want something flashy. They want to win the lottery instead of working for it. They want to skip the grind and jump to the result. That's not how this game works. Life rewards the man who commits to mastery, who is willing to put in the work every day, regardless of the outcome. That man becomes unshakable, because his results aren't based on chance. They're built on an unbreakable system of habits. You need to start thinking differently. You need to stop focusing on the end result and start dominating the process. Start asking yourself, what did I win today? Did I wake up when I said I would? Did I train? Did I eat right? Did I put in real work on my goals? Did I improve, even just by 1%? Because those 1% improvements, they add up. They build you. 1% every day makes you 37 times better in a year. That's not motivation. That's math. That's consistency. That's how you win. And here's the thing. You won't always feel like it. You won't always see the results right away. But if you trust the process, if you keep showing up, those small wins will eventually explode into massive results. You'll look back one day and realize you've built a life others only dream about. Not because of luck, not because of talent, but because you did what most people wouldn't. You stayed consistent. You collected those small wins every single day, and they turned into something extraordinary. That's why patience matters. That's why delayed gratification is so powerful. Because when you're obsessed with daily improvement, you become unstoppable. You no longer need applause. You don't care about overnight success. You're building something that can't be taken away, something that lasts. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're making a deposit in your future. Every small win is proof that you are in control, that you are making progress, even if it doesn't show yet. It's not about going viral. It's not about looking successful. It's about being successful, and that comes from daily domination. You wake up, you do the work, and you repeat. That's the formula. That's what the weak never understand. They think success is a moment. It's not. It's a lifestyle. It's built from the ground up, one brick at a time, one win at a time, and you control it. You don't need permission. You don't need ideal circumstances. You just need consistency. So stop chasing the big win. Stop trying to leap to the top. Focus on climbing one step at a time. Master the art of small wins. Celebrate them, stack them, let them compound. That's how you build confidence. That's how you become bulletproof. Because when you've earned every inch of your success, no one can take it from you. You didn't wish for it. You worked for it. And that's the difference. This is the reality. If you're not stacking wins, you're stacking losses. There's no neutral. Every choice either moves you closer or pushes you further. So choose wisely, build daily, and understand this truth. Greatness isn't built in a moment. It's built in a million small ones. And those moments are yours to command. The world is brutal. It doesn't care how many times you tried. It doesn't care how passionate you were. It doesn't hand out trophies for effort. It rewards outcomes, results power, success. And the truth is, the ones who achieve it are not always the smartest, the most talented, or even the most gifted. They are the most relentless. They are the ones who refuse to stop, who keep grinding long after everyone else has quit. That's what consistency does. It gives you an edge that talent alone never will. It turns ordinary men into forces the world cannot ignore. When you're relentless, the universe starts to move out of your way. Because most people fold. They hit one obstacle and back off. They face one rejection and start doubting themselves. They encounter one failure and suddenly believe the dream isn't meant for them. That's the average mindset. That's the default for most people. But the relentless one doesn't care how many times it takes. He doesn't flinch at failure. He doesn't cry when things don't go his way. He adapts. He endures. He pushes harder. The relentless man understands something vital. Success isn't about one breakthrough. It's about staying in the game longer than everyone else. Consistency is the ultimate weapon in that game. It's not loud. It's not flashy. It doesn't post about itself online. It works silently, day after day, crushing weakness, sharpening focus, building strength. It's showing up when you're tired, hungry, broken, uninspired. It's doing the work with no applause, no attention, no validation. That's the part no one glamorizes. Because it's hard, it's boring. But that's where all the real power is hidden. People want fast, they want comfort. But the world doesn't reward comfort. It respects the man who shows it that he won't stop. The man who, no matter what life throws at him, keeps swinging. He doesn't beg for things to be easier. He gets tougher. He doesn't ask for pity. He earns respect. That's why consistency matters. Because the storm will come. Life will test you. People will doubt you. Circumstances will crush you if you're weak. But if you're consistent, you become unbreakable. Not because things don't affect you, but because you never allow anything to stop you. You want to build a business. Good. Be prepared to get rejected 100 times. Be prepared to fail over and over again. The market doesn't care about your feelings. But if you're consistent, if you're relentless, the market will have no choice but to recognize your value. Eventually, results speak louder than excuses. And the man who delivers results through pain, through resistance, through chaos, is the one who dominates. You want to build a strong body. Forget shortcuts. Forget supplements and fake hacks. Show up every day. Train hard. Eat clean. Repeat. That's it. That's what 99% of people don't do. They start strong and fade. They want the result without the grind. But the consistent one, he wins because he never leaves the fight. The gym is not about muscles. It's a metaphor. It's proof that consistency builds power over time. The same applies to your mindset. You don't become mentally tough by reading quotes or watching videos. You build a powerful mind by facing adversity and not quitting, by staying consistent with your discipline, by controlling your emotions, by mastering yourself. That's how the world begins to respect you. Not because you talk, but because you walk with results. You become the man who always shows up. No matter what, that reputation is power. Look around. Most people are sleepwalking. They move from one distraction to the next. They're looking for the easiest way out, the quickest dopamine hit. But you, if you're consistent, if you're relentless, you separate yourself from the crowd without even trying. you become uncommon. People notice, not because you're loud, but because your presence demands attention. You walk differently, you speak differently, you carry the energy of someone who cannot be broken. That's the result of consistency. It doesn't mean you won't fail. In fact, you'll fail more than most. But each failure will sharpen you, because you won't see failure as defeat. You'll see it as data, as feedback, as a reason to come back stronger. The consistent man is not afraid of falling. He knows how to rise, again and again, until one day, he stands where others only dreamed of being. So ask yourself, are you consistent or convenient? Do you only show up when it's easy? Do you vanish when things get hard? That's the test. Everyone says they want success until it requires sacrifice, until it demands patience, until it tells you to show up without results, without recognition, without reassurance. That's when most walk away. But if you remain, if you keep grinding, you become undeniable. The world starts to take notice, not because you're lucky, but because you refuse to disappear. The man who wins is the one who outlasts the noise, who stays on his mission, focused and disciplined, while others are distracted and complaining. The world respects the man who keeps coming. He becomes a problem, a presence, an example. That's what you should be chasing. Not attention, not shortcuts, but the kind of power that only comes from persistence. You won't always feel like it. That's okay. Your emotions don't dictate your destiny. Your actions do. So even on the bad days, especially on the bad days, push forward. Stay consistent. Let your grind silence doubt. Let your results speak for you. Because in the end, it's not about who's the most gifted. It's about who's still standing when everyone else has given up. And that man, he owns the game every time.